Hello everybody, this is Queen again. Good day everyone. And today there's many topics I want to cover, so we'll go quickly into each one. Now the first topic is basically on XRP again. Now there's a strong prediction or there's a question among the community that will XRP topple the king of today, which is Bitcoin. Now let's get into it. Now Wirex app Twitter poll reviews crypto. Basically what they poll is that the crypto community really prefer XRP or Ripple in making payments. So they see is overwhelming, more than 70% of voters basically rank XRP as the number one to use as payment. That means as a medium of exchange, they think XRP is number one. And Wirex is basically a platform. They have a debit card that allow people to use cryptocurrencies to buy and sell goods. So that's very easy. So that the Wirex is one of the leaders or pioneers in coming up with payment using cryptocurrency. So they're one of the very important player in the market. So this is one. The other one is a bit dated, but there was a survey. This is by Fundstrat, a leading fund in cryptocurrency. They basically did a survey, and the institutions clearly favor Bitcoin, while the Twitter platform, Twitter fans basically prefer Ripple or XRP. Basically the question was which one will be the top performing coin in 2019, and clearly for the institutions is Bitcoin, whereas for the Twitter crowd is 46% XRP. Now my own take is whether XRP will topple Bitcoin as the king. My own take is no, because I see Bitcoin as a really good store of value, and also it is permissionless and decentralized, and that is the main spirit of cryptocurrency. Because we know the main reason that at least some of the fundamentalists or maximalists who believe in cryptocurrency believe it because it offers an alternative to the current central system, where there's a control by a central party that can just increase the supply of money at will, whereas cryptocurrency and mainly Bitcoin is one very solid alternative to that, where there's no controlling party that can simply increase the supply of Bitcoin at will. There's only 21 million at all times, and that is very key. But if you look at XRP, the circulating supply is only about 40 billion, whereas the total supply is about 100 billion. So what this means is the other 60% is basically controlled by the government, controlled by the founders or the companies, people. So that it is still a very centralized control for this token. But no doubt, yes, the use case is very useful because they have been able to garner a lot of big clients, including on Bank of America, Santander, UBS, as their clients to use their platform for instant borderless payments for their companies and all that. So that is really useful, and no doubt I believe that I myself also have some holdings in XRP. But then I still believe Bitcoin, will be the main one. It is a solid alternative to the current fiat money we have today. So having said that, let's move on. Now, the next thing is I have about 7 pieces of news that continue to point to the long-term bullishness of cryptocurrency. First up, Ron Paul is basically a retired congressman. He's a very progressive person, and he has created a poll on Twitter himself, and where he has asked his supporters, more than 600,000 of them, basically if a wealthy people give you 10,000, and which one, and but the condition is you have to keep them for 10 years without touching it, which form do you want to keep it in? 50% of the people choose Bitcoin, even over gold. So it's not. So a lot of people say Bitcoin is a digital gold. In this case, it shows that Bitcoin is even better than gold. And of course, Federal Reserve notes is only 2%. So this is one of those things which, again, I believe, it's one of those long-term things that, you start seeing in this kind of poll. And again, people who use Twitter are probably more of the progressive and more of the forward-looking, more of the younger crowd. So again, this is more of the, it's more long-term, definitely not a short-term play, but, you can see where the trend is going already. Next up, in a Holiday 2018 report where they surveyed a lot of the American teenagers, basically they are saying which one will you prefer to receive as gifts for your Christmas? And most of them, they basically prefer cryptocurrency and V-Bucks. V-Bucks is one of the virtual currency used in the popular video game Fortnite over cash, gift cards, and gas money. Now, this is very important. What this signifies is that, the young people, basically below 18, I would think, right? American teenagers, they basically already see cryptocurrency as the natural form of payment, right? Medium of exchange. So for them, it's a very natural thing that they will just rather have cryptocurrency, rather than cash or gift cards. So this also points to the notion that basically over time, right, the adoption and use of cryptocurrency will just come naturally with all these young people coming to age, right? Basically, give it next 10 to 15 years, all the young people that will be born by then will already know cryptocurrency as an alternative, right? So to them, it is not something that they have to change their mindset. So this is probably a natural thing that they will just adopt. Again, a very positive long-term trend. This one, another one, Crypto.com is formerly called Monaco. They already have issued their cards. Basically, this is a company that, their mission is to accelerate the adoption and use of cryptocurrency in every person's wallet. Their cards is basically tied up with Visa. So their cards is allow people to pay, daily goods, including Starbucks, or I and my husband have actually personally used these cards in Singapore to buy McDonald's. And yeah, you just use this card, no difference, right? And it's just processed within seconds. And they're going to launch this card next in US, and already 100,000 cards are, reserved globally. So yes, they already have introduced in Singapore, and that was in October. So now they're going to launch it in US very soon. So we see this, it's very easy for people who are so used to plastic cards today to just pay with cryptocurrency. Again, this is one of those long-standing objections that people have, that cryptocurrency is not, you cannot use it to buy a cup of coffee, but now you can. So yeah, again, this will not be in mainstream news as you would expect, right? Next up, Venezuela's now the biggest supermarket there, similar to Walmart, have started accepting Bitcoin. It's called Truckee. Now, it's no surprise because we already know that Venezuela has been stifled by high stagflation. Basically, the IMF is even projecting a local inflation rate will hit 1,000,000% by the end of 2018. So people in Venezuela already have no choice, but they already have adopted cryptocurrency for their daily use even long time ago. But now, even their biggest supermarket, which is equivalent to Walmart of US, are already accepting Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. And also, people there are actually recommending, the normal people in Venezuela to even sell their valuables like their cars to get Bitcoins, because then, the Bitcoin can really hold value. And it means, probably life and death for these people. Next up, of course, we have all these branded watches, Hublot, that have limited edition watches that, you can use Bitcoin or cryptocurrency to pay. And they only have 210 units of these watches. So yeah, no surprise, it's basically to commemorate the 21 million units of Bitcoin. So this next two news is a bit subtle. It's one of those things, one of those news where you really have to look below the line. So KPMG came up with a report, and the headline of this news says cryptocurrency is still far away from a store of value. But if you actually look at the report, and if you look at their summary, basically they ended on a positive note by saying that in the long term, advent and dominance of the crypto assets will eventually occur. But of course, they have to overcome issues like taxation, regulatory compliance, security, financial auditing, and liquidity. Now, in US, they already are taxing it, and people are starting to use it. You just have to manage, right? It's basically one of those things. You just have to see how you can comply with regulations. Regulatory compliance, yes, a lot of governments are already coming up with regulations. But as you can see, this is one of those trends that things are already happening. So, this is a natural pain or natural challenges that a new nascent innovation like cryptocurrency will have to undergo. So you see, this is very subtle because they ended on a very positive note. but the headline is so negative, right? So it's again one of those things where you have to really see below the line, and it's again one of those big boys that doesn't want people on the on the normal masses. The big boys, the elites, don't want the normal masses to adopt cryptocurrency, right? Basically, it's the so you have to be very alert. You have to really read below the line and just don't believe everything you read, especially people don't read through the whole news, right? That's the problem. The other one, which I think is super important because it really can, signify, and it can be a beginning of the biggest market, which is China coming, relaxing their regulations not too far in the future. See, Huobi, which is the world's third largest cryptocurrency, is definitely a China-based company. Their founders are all, Chinese. They have now moved their company to Singapore, but they have recently set up a communist party branch. So what does this mean is that they basically, as you know, China is governed by communist party, and basically that means this Huobi, being a private entity, that they are having a communist party branch in their private entity, in a very clear move to signal, that they really support the government. And which other companies have such Communist Party branch is no surprise, is big names like Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, Xiaomi, owner of the South China Morning Post. It's all these companies who are already giants today that they have clear affiliation and support for the Communist Party. So interesting, right? And this is the first time that a blockchain related company, and this again, Huobi is directly, encouraging people to trade. Although yes, they're not in, they're now moved out of China to Singapore, but they have, a Communist Party branch. So this is a very clear thing to say that, what does it mean? Is again, I see this as a very positive development that the Chinese government, are actually secretly, I would say, under the radar, being very supportive of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, but they are still doing a lot of this, under the wraps, right? Yeah, I foresee big things and very positive things happening. And as you know, if China opens up, when it opens up the market, can you imagine the floodgate that will open? Yes. Lastly, this is more of just a reminder of people who use exchanges. Something happened in Hong Kong Exchange OKX, where they have basically stopped they have changed basically the future contract of Bitcoin Cash of customers, and then they basically forced the early settlement of Bitcoin Cash contracts for customers without asking for their permission. And basically this is a problem, because then it causes some people to lose their funds even before the maturity date of their contracts, and people are very pissed basically with OKX exchange. Now the thing is this: when you need, again, this is also a reminder for people who use exchanges, even Coinbase, Binance, right? Because no doubt they are still a central authority, and they can, they are subject to hacks. That they can do things like this. It's the first time that any exchange have done this, so doesn't mean that in the future no other exchange can't. So again, just a reminder: if you have a lot of cryptocurrencies, it is best to park it outside in cold wallets, right? And not in, just keep a minimum amount that you need to trade in their exchange, but not, definitely the amount that you will cry over, the amount that you will, care to lose, those you really need to keep it off in your cold wallet, right? Where you have the full control over it. Just another one to end it off, just a fun fact, basically, as you know, Warren Buffett, has raised millions each year because he has done an auction to say who wants to lunch with him, have to pay millions. And last year, I think it was recently up to 3 million to lunch with him. Now, in the cryptocurrency, you don't need to pay so much, but they're doing a similar practice where, you can lunch with Jimmy Song, the Bitcoin core developer, for just about $200. So this is one of those fun facts if you're interested. Okay, great. I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks so much if you have already subscribed to my channel, and look forward to speaking to you more, and live with passion. Have a great day, and God bless. See you tomorrow. Thank you.